Good evening, guys. So, today I didn't exactly have the best day in my life. It wasn't the worst, but it wasn't the best. And I was just, chilling like I always do, just navigating online, just reading, seeing what people are saying, just reading news. And because this is sort of like getting myself prepped for bed, right? And then I see something trending on Twitter called Trumpcare. And I was like, okay, here we go. Let's see what the proposal was. Because I do remember that throughout the election or whatsoever, this was a big discussion. And it turns out that I see Trumpcare, and of course, I start digging into it. And let me tell you something. I am not impressed by what I read. If anything, I am concerned and horrified because this is what I know thus far. Assuming that I am understanding the terminology correctly and also understanding what the insurance business is like. What I learned is that this thing will ensure that fewer people have health insurance. For instance, I have definitely been underinsured. It means that I have opted for having a very limited health care just so that I can afford it and just so that I don't get penalized. But at least I have a little bit of something. I have like the lowest value, but at least if I were to get sick, I wouldn't necessarily have the full cost of the medical bill to pay out of pocket. This happened to me last year, and mind you, this is in the Obamacare era. I got sick, I had to go to the doctor, and of course, my insurance covered very, very little, so I had to pay over half for that visit, which seemed very basic, but I did need medicine and also I needed an intravenous hydration, to put it that way. And to this day, I am still paying off that medical bill, which was it was close to $500. And I set myself up for a payment plan through my what do you call it? The the hospital's name, like the doctor, the chain, the franchise. Sorry, I'm lacking that term right now. And they set me up in a payment plan to where I can pay $25 and per month and then pay off my debt within 9 months. But for me, that's still quite a huge sum because um, it's almost the full price of the whole procedure. And honestly, that was my first time going to the doctor ever since my early adolescence. And then this absolutely makes me less likely to want to go see a doctor again because I know that I will be stuck with premiums like this. And additionally, this year when I renewed my enrollment, there had been massive amendments, and it means that they had taken away even further coverage than what I already had to count for. So if I were to get sick in the same manner that I did last year, I can count on my cost being greater. And my employer will not provide health insurance because I'm only a part-timer. And of course, they're not hiring anybody full time anymore unless you have an important position. So, and even if you were to get another job just so that you have a greater income and thus you can maybe afford a better health coverage, you still do not have the coverage just given to you. You're still paying for it. And that just makes no sense. The reason you would want to get a second job is so that you can get more money into your household, not to get taxed even more and to attempt to afford, say, greater health insurance. And yet, all you're working for is for something that you may not even use this year. But God forbid if you do get sick and you happen to have chosen to not have that further insurance. This is like a big gambling and a relay. And anyway, but another thing that I learned about this was that Medicaid gets reduced. I remember that through health choice when I was younger, my mother was able to regularly take me to the doctor. What I mean by regularly is once a year for me to get my vaccines or whatever. And it was very little or no cost to her. And, as a person from a low income family, it was just her working. She's a single mother. And then myself, my brother was gone by this time, but she was able to at least keep me mostly healthy and alive. And if something had happened, I could go to the doctor. But now, there's no way in hell that I would be trying to get there. Another thing that bothered me was this thing called Planned Parenthood and basically abortion services would also be eliminated. Now, I know that abortion is one of those topics that has been discussed and really it's been controversial, like because of the morals and the ethics behind it. For me personally, if I were a victim of abuse that I did not call for, in other words, rape, I would hope that I can have a choice as to what to do about my reproductive health and my offspring. I wasn't asking for that deed, but unfortunately, in this case, I ended up with a product. What people are saying is that I should keep the baby, regardless of anything, because it's a living being. Trust me. I hear you, I feel you, and I agree with you. We should all be in the position to where we can take care of offspring. But like I said, if it's something that was forced, that you got forced into, it's very, very, very unfair for you to, being a person, the individual who's not in my position, which is I'm the victim. It's really, really terrible for you to be saying that I don't have a right and that I'm a criminal for getting rid of a product that I did not plan on having. If I would have planned it, then that would be okay. And trust me, I wouldn't even be questioning bringing this child, this product, into the world. But remember, if I was attacked and this is the way I ended up expecting, I must have the opportunity to make a choice because as of right now, I've been working hard. I've been taking care of myself. I want to be responsible. I want to be financially stable and be in a great relationship with a man to be able to decide that this is a proper thing to be involved in. But what you are saying is that, all of that doesn't matter and that I have to be okay with bringing a child into the world from an act that totally was uncalled for and not asked for. So that's why this thing being eliminated, Planned Parenthood and abortion coverage, it's horrifying because this is saying that You don't get birth control. You also can't even get mammograms to, make sure that the rest of you is healthy. And that means that if you were to decide to get an abortion, because, you know, assuming that your circumstances are like the example that I chose to just dwell into, the expenses of this medical procedure would be 100% out of your pocket. And most of us are not in the position to be handling that expense. And just remember that whether you abort the child or you keep the child, it's equally expensive because giving birth is not free. And especially if they are reducing your coverage so much, it's only going to get worse. So they're making it really challenging for people of low income to be alive and living or inhabiting this country in general. And this guy, this Trump guy, he is definitely not kidding with you. Like, he is clearly demonstrating that he is all about defending his buddies who are in the same position as he is. I'm not saying that Obama did the best that he could for us, because no politician has ever really been that. How can I say this? I don't. I guess I don't know. I've never been president. I've never been in law school like that to understand the deep roots of the government and the system and everything. But for whatever reason, the common man is always having it worse. So, and then this just proves the point further that the folks who are in politics, they're not really that worried about you. And um, another thing that I learned about this thing is that tax break that the health insurance company CEOs, the folks from Cigna, United Health, what's it called? United Healthcare, and, all those folks, they're saying that with this bill or this Trumpcare thing, those companies get like incentivized to have their top executives, their CEOs, and all those folks to be overpaid so that they can have tax breaks. And tax breaks, of course, is like an amnesty of taxes. Like, it's saying that you can get away with not paying them and stuff like that. And then what happens to the rest of us, The poor folks, we keep seeing our taxes increasing, whereas these folks who make ridiculous amounts of money, they actually see the benefits. They actually get away with not having to pay that. Like, why would you not need to pay this when you have the means and resources to do so? You know? And another thing that is kind of absurd and ridiculous, but this just shows you just how, like, maddening and just dehumanizing. Let's call it by what it is, dehumanizing. It also said, I read somewhere that the bill even targets the lottery winners by essentially kicking them out of their Medicaid. It's trying to say that if you win the lottery, you cannot possibly have Medicaid coverage. Now, you guys tell me, this definitely does not sound good for a good chunk of the population here in America. For me, it definitely affects me. You guys know that I was sick for this past week and a half. I still got the symptoms going on. I have thought about it. It's been pretty serious. I should really see a doctor, but I don't do it because I don't want to be messing with stuff like this, and I know that the bill is going to look terrible. And I'm still paying off the visit from last year. And I certainly cannot afford to add a new bill into my life, you know? So basically, everybody who we love is going to be affected by this. I know my mother is going to be affected by this, and she's a full time worker. And she just recently got sick, and she still had to pay a good chunk for her medical visits. And I'm pretty sure that she'll be getting letters in the mail soon in which she's going to find more surprises and more fees that she needs to pay. So, yeah, you guys, this is looking terrible. This really worries me. It actually makes me very sad. And now I can't help but think about what's going to happen to me and my health. Like, seeing a doctor has been very hard for me, and this makes it even harder. So, please, guys, I urge you to inform yourselves as best as you can, hang on to anything that you have, and just work on improving your situation, especially your financial one, because these guys are not playing. And yeah, you guys, this is all that I have to say at the moment. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts. Do you think I'm missing the point? Am I missing something? Am I wrong? I want to hear it, but please make sure to be kind about it. There's no need to troll anybody, to insult anybody, to attack anybody. As much as we can, let's have like a good discussion about this because, I'm not here hating on anybody or just targeting anybody. I'm just saying that I strongly disagree with this, and I do consider it very like it's not an act of love for your people and country or whatever. So, yeah, you guys, let me know what you think, and as always, thank you so much for tuning in. I shall see you soon.